Have you ever wondered what the world really thinks is going to happen next? I mean, what if you could tap into our collective gut feeling, see what thousands of people all over the globe are actually betting on? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do, using this incredible platform called Kaishi. So let's dive right in. I mean, it's the big question, right? Who's going to be the richest person on the planet next year? Which AI is actually going to come out on top? Are we heading for a recession? Usually, we're just listening to a handful of experts. But what if we could see the collective wisdom, or maybe the collective madness, of the crowd, updated every single second? Think about it. Imagine a stock market, but instead of trading shares in Apple or Google, people are trading shares in outcomes. A live, breathing barometer that shows us what we all hope for, what we're afraid of, and what we truly expect to happen on pretty much any topic you can imagine. Okay, so how do we actually read this global mood ring? Well, it all comes down to this really cool concept called a prediction market. Let's break down how it actually works, because it's simpler than you might think. So here's the deal. People use real money to buy yes or no shares on whether something will happen. Let's say you buy a yes share. If the event happens, boom, your share is worth $1. If it doesn't happen, it's worth 0. So the price people are willing to pay for that yes share, that price becomes the probability. It's kind of brilliant. To make this super clear, let's look at a simple example. Here we have a market asking if the temperature in New York City will hit a certain number on a specific day. The price for a yes share is trading at 78 cents. That literally means the market, the collective wisdom of everyone betting, is saying there's a 78% chance of that happening. It turns a fuzzy guess into a hard number. All right, so to see this whole thing in action, we took a snapshot. We tracked these markets every single day for 1 week, from November 13th to November 19th, 2025. This lets us see not just what people are thinking at one moment, but how those beliefs actually evolve over time. And that's the really cool part. These markets are alive. A single piece of news, a big announcement, a speech, anything can send these probabilities swinging up or down. So we're going to follow a couple of the biggest stories and see exactly how that plays out. First up, a topic that is on absolutely everyone's mind, the race for the most powerful artificial intelligence. The big question on the market was, which model will be considered the best by the end of 2025? And look at this! This is what I'm talking about. On Monday, the market gave Google's Gemini a pretty confident 78% chance of being the top dog. But by the end of that same week, it had surged to 90%. That's a massive jump. Something happened that week. A demo, a review that completely shifted the crowd's confidence. Okay, so let's switch gears from tech to big money. Another really fascinating question people were betting on. Who will be the wealthiest person in the world at the end of the year? And we see another interesting move here. The belief in Elon Musk holding that top spot started the week already super high, at 89%. But by the end of the week, it climbed even higher to a staggering 96%. This tells us that whatever news was coming out about his companies that week, it was all positive, and it just solidified what the crowd already thought. But these huge races, AI, billionaires, they're really just the tip of the iceberg. What's truly wild is the sheer breadth of things people are betting on. It's a real-time map of everything we're curious about, worried about, or just arguing about. Just look at the contrast here. On one side, you've got this massive, serious economic question. Will there be a recession before 2027? The market puts the odds at 31%, so it's a real concern, but not a certainty. Then on the other side, a classic financial showdown, gold versus Bitcoin. And here, the market is way more sure of itself, giving a 94% chance that gold will come out on top this year. So what happens when we step back and look at all these different bets together? Well, you start to get a feel for the overall global mood. You can see what we're all pretty sure about, what's a total toss-up, and what we think is a complete long shot. This chart kind of breaks it down for us. Over on one end, you have the things the market sees as almost a sure thing, a 95% chance Google drops Gemini 3.0. Then you get to the middle, the real nail-biters, the ones that are basically a coin flip, like a 52% chance for a political nomination. And then, of course, way over on the other end, you got the extreme long shots, where the market is basically screaming, no way, not gonna happen. It's a really cool look at the whole spectrum of belief. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, a few things. First, real certainty is super rare. Second, public sentiment is a living, breathing thing that changes fast. Third, It seems people will bet on pretty much anything. And maybe most importantly, this whole thing gives us a hard number for something that's usually fuzzy, like public opinion. So after a week of watching the world place its bets, what's the ultimate point? What's the real value of a tool like this? I think this quote just nails it. These markets aren't some magic crystal ball that can see the future. What they are, and why they're so powerful, is that they're a mirror. They show us a reflection of ourselves, our current collective quantified belief about what's around the corner. It's not the final answer, but man, it's one of the most interesting questions we can ask. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. After seeing the wisdom and the wagers of the crowd all laid out like this, what would you bet on?